Welcome back, Nightfall. If you're here, that means your training paid off with our Flesh Pound Guide. Hope you learned quite a bit from it, because now we're going to go over the next big Z. Thank you all for the support in the previous video discussing that Flesh Pound, and if you want to see more like this and support the channel, consider subscribing or liking the video. Even a small interaction with these means the world to me, as I get to share my passion in a game that I thoroughly enjoy. Now in this week's video, we are going to discuss what happens when you combine Leatherface with Scorpion and add a hint of biochemical engineering. Meet the Scrake. The Scrake is the most common Big Z you'll face during your counters. He is most likely the first one you're going to face, as on short waves he could spawn as early as wave 2. Sprouting a classic leather apron, this Z will announce himself with an iconic chainsaw rev, letting you know that he has entered the field. When you see this Hulking Menace, you may notice that he has more moves at his disposal compared to previous titles, and he's got himself a nice little mechanical upgrade. He's kept his iconic chainsaw and now has a claw where he can launch it towards you to pull you into him. Let's dive into the numbers and see what we're dealing with on this one. Now, much like the Flesh Pound and its health values, this does scale depending upon the difficulty modifier, and TLDR, this is still going off the same spreadsheet that I have, so these are the numbers we're going with. That same spreadsheet will still be linked in the description for those that want to see it. Now on normal, he only has a body health of 25,000 and a head health of 1,280. He's very squishy compared to previous games here. He's taken quite a bit of a health nerf. Now on hard, it jumps up to 37,500 and a head health of 1,920. Somewhat tanky, but can easily be dispatched. Now on Hell on Earth is where we see the biggest spike in the numbers, with a body health of 55,000 and a head health of 1,856. Once again, this just further proves my theory that the devs are rewarding skilled play and pretty much drilling into you that you should hit his weak points to take him out quicker. But his health is lower compared to previous titles, just like the Flesh Pound. And his looks are not for show, as each part can actually be damaged or outright removed to hinder the Scrake. Aside from his new claw, he can now direct his anger towards one particular player and lead other Zeds to do the same. This is indicated by both his and the other Zed's eyes around him glowing an orangish red. And he'll also point at you and you'll see a little laser directed at you. And yes, he can do this to Flesh Pounds. He can send about 7 Flesh Pounds your way if you really piss him off. So how do we kill him? Quickly, at least. A majority of his body is considered flesh, so the cut, ballistic, and biological damage will do heavy damage to him. His armor sections are his chest plate, his claw, and his face plate with his chainsaw. He also has a Z-Tech hit zone underneath his faceplate once it's removed. If you read the spreadsheet that I use, that Z-Tech hit zone is purple, meaning that electric will be really good with it. One nice detail is you can also remove his claw by doing enough damage to it, and it will simply blow off. He can't pull you in anymore. And if you do enough damage to his chainsaw, a glowing red critical spot will be available. Do enough damage to this and it can explode, pulling the Scrake into an execution state. I only recommend doing this as a last resort, as with most Zeds, shooting them in the face is a surefire way to get the job done. Now he is resistant to force and electrical damage. However, Z-Tech is weak to electrical damage, and that will only apply once the faceplate is removed. Now, it doesn't say it in the codex, but I have noticed that he is also very resilient to fire. I don't know if this is intended or not, but based off of play experience, it takes a lot to burn him. So let's go over some interactions. The Scrake can be enfeebled, and he can have other status effects to him, such as panic. Panic is when you light them on fire, or it's either dealing with toxic where they flail their arms around like the wacky wave inflatable arm wheeling tube man for just a little bit. But it doesn't last as long on the Scrake, and why enfeeble him when you can just outright kill him? And he normally likes to stay towards the back of the pack while the flesh pounds will rush you down. And yes, he can pull you into a siren scream, which can lead to a near instant death. There is a small audio cue for this, however, when he gets ready to pull you in, giving you some decent bit of time to react. Thankfully, it's much louder now, as anybody who's played this game when it first came out, it was quiet and you would get pulled around corners. Thank God they fixed that. Now, thankfully, every class can take him down reliably. Some are more better than others, but that's the nature of the game. Your go-to is Firebug with the Vulcan. I mean, it's the Vulcan. Yes, I've noticed he's resistant to fire, but the Vulcan, it's the Vulcan. Sharpshooter and Ninja can take him down easily, especially the Ninja. If you have a bleed heavy attack build, you can either 2 or 3 tap a Scrake with heavy attacks. Sharpshooter can 2 tap him, and like Firebug, she can just stare at him and he dies. The Engie can stun him with the Ifrit and shotgun mode, while the Medic's biological damage can provide some impressive damage over time. Also, for my ninjas out there, you can parry his grapple attack. Enjoy that little nugget of info. Now onto these damage types that are really good with him. Once again, it's Cut, Bleed, and Ballistic. These are your go-to for taking him down. I'm once again going to throw in Soundwave, as it can knock him down and deal some pretty impressive damage. People are sleeping on Soundwave, and I recommend giving it a try. In conclusion, you can think of the Scrake as a battlefield commander, being able to direct the Zeds where he needs them to go. When you see those eyes of the Zeds glow, that means he is near and needs to be taken out. They tend to spawn in groups and more often than not hang towards the back, but they'll slowly make their way up while the Horde swarms you. Remember your training, aim for the head to make one dead Zed. Now, as we've reached the end of this, I want to thank you all so much for the support of the last video. That Flesh Pound video actually did a lot better than I anticipated. And even just the small interactions I had on there, the likes and all that, and even just talking to y'all in general, I see that y'all really like this style of video, and I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to go through every enemy in this game, including every class. Now, that will take time, depending on my work schedule. I don't want to have a set schedule out yet because of the nature of my job. Things can change very quickly. But I will do my best to get these out to y'all in a reasonable time. So once again, I thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to become a SEAL, baby. And I'll see y'all in the next one.